Welcome to Let's Talk with Tara, the space where real life meets real answers. I am Dr. Tara T Stallings, counselor and coach, here to help you navigate life's toughest challenges. Together, we'll explore psychological insights, emotional healing, relational growth, and biblical truths to empower your journey. So grab a seat, lean in, and let's have the conversations that matter the most. Hi, welcome. I am Dr. Tara T Stallings, and this is Let's Talk with Tara. I am so excited to start this new year off with you, 2025. I know you guys that have been following me, been wondering, where is she? I've been busy. So I want to start off this year fresh and lay some foundation. So if you have not already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, to all my social media platforms at Let's Talk Tara. Let's Talk Tara. Go ahead and share that information now, because this series that we're talking about, especially in the month of January, it is going to be life-changing for so many people. So let's get into it. Understanding the conjunctions and convergence of all things natural and spiritual. As many of you know, that I am a counselor. I am a transformational coach. I am in ministry, and I speak from both a kingdom perspective and also from a academic professional perspective. And I learned that you cannot matriculate through life without understanding the foundation of how the natural and the spiritual work. And from my dealings and with people and spiritual things, I've noticed that so many people have a misunderstanding of how natural and spiritual converge, and and the conjunctions of them. So I thought it would be best for me to kind of lay this foundation for you so that you can get a good understanding. Because again, so many people have been taught wrong, or have not been taught, or have been taught superstitions, or been taught from different beliefs, when in actuality, the spirit is the spirit. We have a light spirit and we have a dark side to the spirit. There's no in between. There's no gray, no purple, no mixing, no rainbows, no nothing. It's light and darkness, like we have day and night. So understanding from me teaching you how the understanding of natural and spiritual things, not just from what I learned in the book, but from my life experiences throughout my 50-some years. I'm not going to say my whole age, but my 50-something years. Not that I have a problem with that. So that you can understand. And I see so many people, great people, keep bouncing, keep hitting a wall because they don't understand that as much as you are natural, you are much more spiritual. And the spiritual impacts the natural more often than we have been taught. So let's get into it. So understanding the conjunctions and convergence of all things natural. So I wrote some things down so I don't, because guys, when I get excited, I kind of go too fast. So bear with me. So what is the conjunctions? The conjunction is the action or the instance of two or more events or things occurring at the same time in space. That's the action or instance of one of two or more things or events occurring at the same time in one space. So we're going to talk about the conjunctions of all things natural and all things spiritual. And also we're going to talk about the convergence. What is convergence? So the definition, the easier way to explain convergence is a way of It's a way to describe how God weaves our circumstances into the fabric of his plans. Another uh, definition is when two or more things come together to form a new whole. I want you to get that part. When two or more things come together, natural and spiritual, come together to form something new. And so I want you to kind of lay this foundation for you, so it will lay the groundwork of what we're going to be talking about in January and throughout life, because a lot of you guys are suffering from emotional distress, anxiety, depression, recreating these cycles in life, in your relationships, in your money, in your body, in your mindsets, in your relationships, and you don't know why this keeps happening. Well, I'm going to tell you why it keeps happening, because there's a conjunction and there's a convergence between all things natural and all things spiritual. In First Corinthians, now, if you don't know, I'm going to tell you, I am a believer in the word of God, the Most High God, through Jesus Christ. I'm a believer. I don't mix, I don't match. I just go by what the word says. I'm not in a denomination. I just go, I'm strictly kingdom. That's what I am. I'm a kingdom believer, a kingdom of light believer, not darkness, but a kingdom of light. So in 1 Corinthians 15:46, it says, it's first the natural and then the spiritual. So let me slow up and explain this to you guys, because again, a lot of people, what you don't know is hurting you. What you don't know can kill you. What you don't know keeps you in unwanted cycles. So let me share something with you that many of you may know, but many of you do not really understand. That one, you are a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body legally in the earth realm. I'm going to say that again. You are a spirit that possesses a soul, your mind, your will, and your emotions. And to be legal in the earth, you have to have a body. You have to have flesh and blood to be legal in the earth. I want you to understand that you are not a body that has a soul and a spirit. You are a spirit that has a soul that legally lives in the earth in your body. When your soul and your spirit leaves your body is lifeless. You have no more thoughts, you have no more thinking, you have no more movement. There's nothing else. So you're a spirit, you have a soul, and you live in a body here on earth. So I want you to understand this. So when we talk about how the natural and the spiritual the conjunctions and the convergence of them, and how they come together, how they work together, it will give you a better understanding of who you are. Many a times, and I don't want to get too, I'm going to talk about this as we go along, but I kind of just want to lay this foundation for you initially so you can get this understanding. You are, from your soul realm, your soul is your mind, not your brain. Your brain is in the natural realm, okay? Not your brain. Your mind, your will, your emotions are in your soul realm, okay? And the spirit and the soul are connected. The spirit and the soul are connected. The word says that only God can separate the spirit and the soul, because they're connected. They're connected. You cannot see your soul. You cannot see your spirit. You can only see your body. That's the natural. So understanding this getting a good understanding of you are a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body here on earth, so that you can understand the control and the authority and power that you have. Once you understand, I'm not my body, but your soul will control what your body behaves. Your soul. That's why Romans says, be ye therefore transformed by the renewing of your mind. Remember when we were born here, and I'm going to give you this quick Bible study lesson. And this is for anybody. I don't care what you believe, because the truth is the truth. You were born in the likeness and the image of God. Everybody believes there's a higher power, whether they believe in God through Jesus Christ or somebody else. That you were born in the image and the likeness of God. Well, God is not flesh and blood. God is a spirit. And he created you like him in spirit form. Remember Adam? Okay. He created Adam out of the dirt to create flesh, and he blew his breath in him, the spirit in him, and he gave him a soul. Okay. That's a little quick Bible lesson right quick, so you can understand flesh and blood. That's why flesh goes back to the ground. So understanding, okay, so what you do in the natural opens up the spiritual. I have to give you this lesson so you can understand this. What Adam did in the natural caused the spiritual to be affected. Adam and Eve. Well, then I'm saying Adam and Eve. What they did naturally, they ate, they were clothed in glory. And when they ate of the fruit naturally, it caused something spiritual to happen, and they lost their glorified body forms. They caused a curse. They opened up and we're going to get into that. They open up a doorway for a curse to operate in their lives and everybody else's life that was born after them. Us. That's why David says we were born in sin and shaped in iniquity. That's why we have to be born again. That's another subject. That's a Bible study lesson. So if that be the case, what you do naturally can open doors spiritually, what we call generational curses to the third and fourth generation, or it can close doors spiritually. Now, laying this foundation, how it creates something new that God never intended for to happen, intended to be because of ignorance. That's all I can say. Because of ignorance, because what you don't know can hurt you and is killing you and creating and causing these unwanted cycles to keep reoccurring. What most believers have been taught, once you become a believer, that all things are passed away and behold, all things are new. And that is true from the spirit realm, not from the soul realm and not from the natural realm. Because what happens is that's why you have to renew your mind from old things, ways of thinking, ways of doing, ways of understanding, ways of perceiving, so that you can have the new way of how God wants you or created you to think and believe and perceive from the kingdom of God. Because if you don't do this, what happens, you bring that same old mindset into your new being, and it keeps keeping you in these cycles. For those of you that are not believers, it doesn't matter if you believe or not. You have this mindset that keeps you in this conundrum, this cycle of misfortune, heartache, despair, because you don't understand when you do things naturally, it opens up a doorway spiritually for dark entities to have legal access in your life. And what we call those things, we call a lot of times we call them generational curses. Sometimes they're generational curses, but sometimes it's just I got legal access to you because I have legal access to you because of what either you opened up or your grandmother, mother, your ancestors in the past open up, and the curse has legal right for down to the third and fourth generation. I don't care how saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost you are. It has legal right to you down to the third and the fourth generation. So what happens is if you don't know that, oh, you struggling with, and I'm gonna give you this before I get into that, I'm gonna give you this example what it looks like, because a lot of times we get this information, but we don't understand what it looks like. So what it looks like is everybody in your family has a issue with rage. Not anger, but with rage to the point they can kill someone. Everybody in your family, and this is how you know when there's something generational that's in your family, or something that has legal rights. This is from the generational side. That everybody in your family had a child out of wedlock. That everybody in your family is a thief. That everybody in your family is a liar. That everybody in your family is a manipulator. That everybody in your family is they can't keep up. They get divorced early. Or let me say this. Let me use this. That everybody in your family after a certain age they have premature death. These are spiritual doorways that have legal rights to your family that will sit dormant for people that to torment, because it's going to torment you. That's what the legal doorway, the dark legal doorway, is going to torment you. So it sits dormant in your family. And some of you guys, when that I noticed that what happens is it sits for years and years and years and years and years, and then boom, it shows up. And then you cannot, well, I'm gonna get saved, I'm gonna get my life right, I'm gonna rebuke it. You can rebuke this thing all you want, but until you denounce it, renounce it, and because you have to go to the judge, which is God the Father, through Jesus, who's our advocate, so that you can close this case. The enemy is the accuser of the brethren, and he will keep this case open against you if you don't know that there are cases against you. You want to stop being a whoremonger. You want to stop being an alcoholic. You want to stop lusting. You cannot, because there's a legal doorway that keeps tempting you, because it tempted your grandmother, it tempted your grandfather, it tempted the people y'all keep the people in your family, and you keep creating this cycle. In you change partners, you change places, you change jobs, but you have the same issues. Guess what? It's not the other people, it's you. And this is how the natural and the spiritual come together, and it creates something totally different that you do not want. And you don't know how to change it because you don't know it's there. Now, I call it unwanted cycles. It's unwanted cycles in your life. How do you close these unwanted cycles? How do you break these unwanted cycles? Well, these unwanted cycles in your life, because of natural and spiritual things, will not be broken until, one, you identify them. Where did it come from? And most people never gain the understanding of where it comes from, because nobody's ever really taught them. So this series is to teach you. Now we're going to get in depth. I'm going to teach you natural and spiritual things, down to where a lot of times you've been taught that you haven't, and we've been taught that you're having wet dreams. Well, those may not be wet dreams, because there's some things that we have not been taught spiritually correctly, because we don't have the correct understanding of them, that are affecting you every day in your life. And because you don't understand how the natural and the spiritual, they conjunct and they converge, and it has created a whole nother new life for you, something, a new whole that you don't want, and you don't know how not to do it. And when you have the mindset, well, your grandmama was like that, or your cousin was like that, or I'm just like that, I don't want to do it. I've heard people, and I'm going to use drugs for example, because I hear people, oh, people can just stop doing drugs. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Sometimes they cannot stop doing drugs because they have a family history of drug and alcohol usage that has been open from somewhere in their family. Sometimes they can't until they understand, hey, I got to do something naturally to close the door spiritually. You have people that have a spirit of perversion. And let me just let y'all know, perversion is not what church people call just homosexuality or lesbianism. No. Perversion is you being a homemonger, you fornicating, you having sex with him, them, they, it, your toys, yourself. That's perversion. Watching pornography, all of that's perversion. Perversion is anything being used outside of its intended purpose. Perversion. Then let me just share that with you so that you can get a good understanding. And a lot of times people want to stop, but they can't because they don't understand that there's natural and there's spiritual. As it relates to anxiety, depression, mental illness, there's the natural and there's the spiritual. And if you do not understand correctly the conjunction and the conversion of all things natural and all things spiritual, you will believe the lie that society has taught you. And I say society. Society is culture, is government, it's church, it's false beliefs, it's schooling, it's education. You will believe these lies. A lot of these are lies to keep you from understanding the truth. And I'm here on assignment. I'm just going to say what it is. I'm on assignment to help you live the life that you were purposed to live to the fullest. But if you have to understand that there are some things in life that if you don't understand will keep you in cycles of confusion, of disappointment, of blaming the wrong spiritual side for what's going on because we have just not been taught. And this is what Let's Talk with Tara. I talk about everything natural, from mental health and how even mental health and spirituality and relationships, even spiritual things. There's a lot of spiritual things that have been taught that have been mistaught, and people just don't understand. And you cannot get this information from a book. And I'm going to share this before I let you go. As I lay this foundation for you, I begin this foundation because we're going to next week we're going to talk about how your natural behaviors and actions influence spiritual outcomes. I'm going to dig deep into that. So you can not just get the information, but choose what does that look like in my life. And that's what I found, that most people, when they hear things, they don't know, what does it look like in my life? What does it look like? So I'm going to share that with you. But what I was sharing is, before I kind of got off into that, is that I want you to know that understanding natural and spiritual from a evidence-based, not from what somebody already told you, because you know what somebody said. I always was told this. This is what people say. Well, you know, my grandmama told me this. Grandmama can tell you a lot of stuff. What I found is, and a lot of grandmamas, sweet old grandmamas, was into mixtures. Granddaddies was into mixtures. When I say mixtures, they was mixing light stuff and dark stuff. You understand what I'm saying? They were mixing God stuff, the kingdom of light, with the kingdom of darkness. And you can't mix oil and water together. The kingdom of darkness will mimic the kingdom of light. And you will think it's the kingdom of light, but it is not. So I want to dive in with you and teach you so you can get a good understanding of why the conjunctions and the convergence of all things, natural and spiritual, and how they impact your everyday life, how they have been impacting your life, how they've impacted your family, how they will impact your children and their children if you do not close the door, gain the understanding, and stop some of this behavior that you're doing naturally that will definitely let you, that if you don't stop this behavior, that it will continue in this conundrum, and you'll be thinking, well, if God don't do it, it ain't gonna get done. It's not gonna get done. That's what we say. Well, if God doesn't do it, it's not gonna get done. Well, baby, he's not gonna do it. He gave you all power and he gave you all authority to do it. So God is not gonna do it. He's waiting on you. He's waiting on you. A lot of your anxiety, a lot of your depression, a lot of these illnesses that we have. Now, and I'm going to get into that too. I don't want to talk too much of that today because, again, you are a spirit, you are a soul, you live in a body. Well, if your thinking is off too long in your soul realm, it will affect your brain, your body, and cause your hormones to be off balance. And guess what? I don't care how much praying you do there for my church people. How much praying and how much interceding. If your natural body is off, and this we talk about natural and spiritual. If your natural hormones are off, you can't pray them to get back on. You're going to need something natural to help stimulate or produce those hormones that you're lacking, or the chemical imbalance, so that your chemical imbalance can get back in balance, so that then you can deal with the spiritual side of it. Because your brain, if you stay in a state, if you're thinking, your soul realm stays in a faltered state so long, it impacts your brain, which impacts the other areas of your body. That's why they say depression hurts. Depression hurts. You start having pains in your body. Anxiety. You start having anxiety attacks. All of these things work together. All of these things work together. You cannot separate them. And this is why so many people, they're on medication and then they never get well, because they don't understand that there's the natural and the spiritual work together. And if you don't understand how to balance them out, how they work together, and why you are being impacted the way that you're impacted, you're going to stay in the same cycle of defeat for the rest of your life, blaming yourself, blaming God, blaming whoever, all because you don't have the right information. The word of God says this: my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And the other part is that, and when they get the knowledge, they reject it. When they get the knowledge, they reject it. So I am Dr. Tara T Stallings. I want to thank you guys for joining me. And listen, if you haven't already, go to my website at Tara T Stallings Inc. We have some great events coming up. Make sure you like and follow and share. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Talk with Tara. If you found today's conversation helpful, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Let's keep this dialogue going. Follow me on Let's Talk Tara for more insights and encouragement.
Remember, every step forward starts with an honest conversation. Until next time, stay grounded, stay growing, and keep talking.